Listen guys, if I'm spacing out this video, just bear with me because I'm a bit tired. I'm your host Yusuf, and these are 10 scary astronaut stories that will make you believe in aliens. Make sure you subscribe and ring that bell to get notified whenever we upload a new video. Anyways, let's head to orbit. Editor, put me in space! Whoa! Number 10, knock knock. First of all, sound does not exist in space. There's only emptiness. This story is peculiar for precisely this reason. Yang Liwei, the first astronaut launched by the Chinese space program, and I'm sorry if I butchered that name, was purportedly on board his space shuttle in 2003 when he heard a knock. In his words, someone was knocking the body of the spaceship just as one would knock an iron bucket with a wooden hammer. It appears that he is not the only one who has gone through this. Between 2005 and 2008, additional Chinese astronauts also claimed to have heard the same noises. Number 9, moon stalkers. Conspiracy theories flooded the internet after astronaut Neil Armstrong became the first person to set foot on the moon. For starters, it's said that his famous moonwalk was staged in a studio. One of the many conspiracies surrounding this event is still a mystery to this day. NASA reports that after Armstrong touched down on the moon during the Apollo 11 mission in 1969, transmission was lost for around 2 minutes. And in reportedly a secret message to NASA, he said, "These babies are huge, sir. Enormous. Oh God, you wouldn't believe it. I'm telling you, there are other spacecrafts out here, lined up on the far side of the crater's edge. They're on the moon watching us." Number 8, failed instruments. Chris Hadfield's first trip required him and his fellow astronauts to steer a shuttle weighing £250,000 towards a target on the Russian Mir space station the size of a coffee cup saucer. Hadfield's responsibility was to alert the pilot of their speed and range while they were docking. This was crucial since the docking required a great deal of precision. In order to dock, they had a 2-minute window and had to move at a speed of 10 feet per second, plus or minus 3/100ths of a second. It would be disastrous if they didn't do it. Hadfield stated that the spring system would bounce you off Mir if you struck it just slightly too softly. If you hit Mir just a little too soft, then the spring mechanisms would bounce you off, Hadfield explained. If you hit Mir just a little too hard, then you would break Mir in half and end the life of 3 people on board. So you've got to hit it exactly right. If the crew on board the flight deck of the shuttle don't solve this problem in the next 30 seconds, then the whole flight is bust and done. Yeah, their instruments went out while docking. Number 7, UFO Conundrum. You've certainly seen a number of articles describing astronaut Scott Kelly's difficult journey as he prepared to stay on the International Space Station for a very long period. He later became the astronaut who logged the most time there, but his story is notable for more reasons than just that. Kelly has made comments that imply a close encounter with aliens. Although he hasn't explicitly said it, his quips looked less like jokes and more like something that all of humanity should think about. Similar like the time he said in an interview that aliens have it easier in space than we do. Number 6, almost poisoned on a spacewalk. When he was making improvements to the ISS, Bob Kerbeam was a seasoned spacewalker. He didn't anticipate a cooling line to burst, spewing poisonous ammonia all over his suit though. Since a spaceship is a closed system, the only air you can use is the air you took with you when you launched. Therefore, an astronaut must be very certain that they are not returning to Earth carrying any hazardous material. Kerbeam needed to halt the leak first. He then had to devise a plan for returning to the space shuttle without contaminating his spacesuit with the dangerous ammonia. Kerbeam dealt with the leak without incident. Even though we were making decisions on the spot, he claimed we understood the hardware, the system, and how it works so well. Because of the training, even if you have to make things up as you go along or perform them on the spot, you can do it intelligently. For an additional 30 minutes, he baked himself in the sun, which is unquestionably one of the most bizarre and scary sunbathing techniques one can undertake. The pollution came as the following issue. With that one, some good old-fashioned science came in handy. He only needed to vaporize the ammonia off of his suit because it has a low boiling point. Number 5, lights. Leroy Chiao, an American astronaut, and his crew witnessed a group of peculiar lights in outer space while Chiao served as commander of the ISS in 2005. Chiao characterized the pattern as resembling an upside-down V. After it flew by them, the crew and Chiao happened to come across the formation. Despite the fact that some of the information regarding these objects seen in space is available for anyone to interpret, conspiracy theorists may be overly quick to smell the BS here. These tidbits from cosmic history definitely make us wonder, what truly is out there? despite the fact that there isn't much in the way of hard proof just yet. Number 4. See you on the way up. While floating on the International Space Station can be enjoyable, the journey there and back can be challenging, to say the very least. According to Tripson, the Russian Soyuz spacecraft in particular has strong G-forces. According to NASA astronaut Tracy, I've heard it described as a train wreck followed by a car crash then falling off your bike. Prior to her independent flight home from the station, Caldwell Dyson recently said she claimed that after going on the vacation, the rumors were accurate. It certainly didn't disappoint, Caldwell Dyson told Space.com after she arrived. There were all the fringe bells, whistles, and sensations, although certain things' magnitude were a little shocking. Overall, it was a thrilling ride. Number 3. Baby food. Food in space still has room for improvement. Obviously, you've seen the pictures, despite the fact that it is no longer limited to Tang and freeze-dried ice cream. Fresh produce is hard to come by, for instance, and ground foods like bread are unworkable because they generate crumbs that, in microgravity, fly everywhere instead of resting on the floor and make cleanup a mess. Instead, astronauts prefer tortillas because they produce fewer crumbs. Additionally, astronauts often become tired with the same menu of reheatable meals that are rotated every 8 days. However, a robotic cargo ship that was supposed to provide supplies and fresh food to the station was delayed in the winter of 2004. As a result, the Expedition 10 crew, which involved Russian flight engineer Salazar Sharapov and NASA commander Leroy Chiao, had to restrict their meals. The two ultimately reduced their normal meal consumption by half in order to conserve resources, then made up for the missing calories by consuming an excessive amount of desserts and candies. At the time, Chiao stated it wasn't an unhealthy diet, but it wasn't an optimum one either. Number 2. Bones. Astronauts must contend with major health effects from their stay in orbit in addition to their daily inconveniences. The impact on their bones is one of the most important ones. According to a new study, an astronaut's bone strength decreases by at least 14% during a 6-month stay in space. According to other studies, an astronaut's bone mineral density can drop by 0.4% to 1.8% per month while they are stationed there, increasing their risk of fractures and osteoporosis in later life. While there is no permanent solution for this issue, astronauts make a point of performing bone strengthening exercises while they are on the space station and engaging in rigorous rehabilitation once they return to Earth in an effort to prevent having the bones of a 90-year-old. Number 1. All alone. The sensation of loneliness astronauts can have after spending half a year away from the entire globe, especially their family and friends, is perhaps the worst element of living in space. While crewmates and frequent phone calls home might help astronauts deal with loneliness, they occasionally have to miss important events back on Earth. While he was residing on the space station in December 2007, NASA astronaut Daniel Tanney's mother was ended in an automobile accident. Tanney had to grieve while he was in orbit more than 200 miles away, for nearly 2 months until he returned to Earth. And in 2004, NASA astronaut Michael Fink was compelled to miss the birth of his second child when his wife, Tarali, gave birth while he was on a lengthy assignment on Expedition 9 of the space station. When he finally landed 4 months later, he was able to meet his daughter for the first time. Thanks for watching. Those were 10 scary astronaut stories that will make you believe in aliens. Leave a like and comment if you think we missed anything, and we hope you have a scary day.